All right. So I've got y equals, whoops, that's not working. Y equals x to the fourth plus 2x squared. Y equals negative x to the third minus 2x. So starting this problem out, I might look at it and go, aha, I want to find points of intersection. Points of intersection where they have the same values for the same x's and y's. Gene Greco, used to working on a previous problem. All right. Okay, so I'm going to set the y's equal to each other. I get x to the fourth plus 2x squared equals negative x to the third minus 2x. I might then move them all over to one side. X to the fourth plus x to the third plus 2x squared minus plus 2x equals 0. I might notice there's no sign changes, so they're all going to be negative values. Yeah. How do I solve this? Factor one out. X to the third plus x to the second plus 2x plus 2 equals 0. Yeah. And then I get x equals 0. And I x to the third plus x to the second plus 2x plus 2 equals 0. Then you got 4 terms. So from last year, you're supposed to remember how to factor this, just for amusement's sake. Does anyone remember how to factor the 4-term polynomial? Paul, how do you factor a 4-term polynomial? Okay, you guys are on your own. You're going to have to do it yourself. Whoa. And then what do I do with them? Factor by grouping. So I'm going to factor out an x squared for the first two. I get x plus 1. I'm going to factor out an x squared for the second one. Oh, sorry, 2. And I get x plus 1. Factor by grouping. Remember this little game? You go x. This becomes x squared plus 2 times x plus 1. And there's my factors. Yes. Remember factor by grouping? Hoops does. There's our Paul Larson for the day.
I'm just confused.
Sorry about that, man. What? You're supposed to know how to factor by grouping. I factor out an x squared from the first two. I factor out a 2 for the second group. Are these the same? If they're the same, then what I do is I do the reverse foiling. Yeah.
What's the x before?
That's this x from up here.
Oh, okay.
There was an x I factored out right at the beginning, right?
Oh, yeah.
I kind of jumped the gun by saying that's x equals 0. Let's just okay. Now I say each of the factors equal to 0. I get x equals 0. I get x squared plus 2 equals 0. I get x plus 1 equals 0. That's easy. X squared equals negative 2. X equals plus or minus the square root of 2i. Ew. Oh, but that's not a real solution, so that wouldn't be a point of intersection, so we wouldn't have to worry about that. Whew. And then the last one is x equals negative 1. Would it be nice if there was another way to do this? Well, your calculator can do it as well. Isn't that nice? And so one of the testing skills I'm going to test on the second part of your test, we have a calculator in your hand, is can you find points of intersection? Because theoretically we did this, chapter 1, about 6-7 months ago. Although we didn't do the factor by grouping part, that's kind of new. So what we're going to do is, what you need to do is type in the first equation in your calculator.
In the graphing part?
In the graph part. You're going to graph both of them. Yeah? Oh. So I'm gonna graph both of them to get up my TI.
Master race.
I'm going to hit on. I'm going to hit on again because of the TI, it takes 2 times. And then I go y equals, and I'm going to start typing the function. Delete. Yep. And then I go x. Some of you have struggled with the 4th power. There's a little thing, an up caret button somewhere on your calculator. Learn to use it. It's the best button on the calculator almost. 4 plus 2x up caret 2. enter. And now I'm going to go negative. Make sure you use a negative, not a minus sign. Your calculator will freak out if you use it. X up caret 3 minus 2x. Enter. And I'm going to ask it to graph them. Now, go ahead and put those both in. Ask them to graph them. Zenda's already got it done, so she's waiting on the rest of you clowns. Get working. Should look like that when you're done. You need me to blow that up?
Oh, what?
Yeah, retype in your counter. Yeah.
No, I got a different answer.
You got a different answer when you did what?
When I did calculate intersect.
What did it give you?
0, 0.
That's one of the 2 points. Where's the other one?
That's the only one I gave you.
That's because you got a TI. I'll explain that in a moment. All right, so are you ready? Now, if you have a Casio, nobody's ready. You guys still graphing? Still graphing. My bad. Keep typing those in. Let's go. Here's my hand. Here's my spouse. And I get on to That's a good sign that Gene Greco doesn't know how a calculator works. You got it typed in? Okay. Hit enter. You guys can graph, right? Now, if you got a Casio, your life just became better. You're going to hit G solve. Where's G solve? It's second front. It's right up there, F5. See that? You know, G. You're going to hit shift and hit F5. Then one of the choices at the bottom of your menu is intersect. I think it's also F5, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Hit F5 again, and it'll tell you the intercept. That's one of them. How do you get the second one on a Casio? You just hit the right arrow and let it find the second one for you. Now, if you have a TI, you get to do all sorts of fun more buttons. So here's how the TI works. You're going to ask it to find interception. So you're going to do roughly the same thing, second function calculations. You're going to have to find an intersection, just like on the TI. See, it's just like a Casio, it's no better. Hit enter. Then it's going to ask you which way is the first curve. Now, this is the part where I go crazy. There's 2 curves. Find the intersection. No. It wants to know which curve do you want to find it on. So I'm going to separate them a little bit by tracing out a little bit, make sure I know which one it is. Yep, that's one of my curves. Enter. Then it asks, what's the second curve? So now I'm going to go and find the other curve. It's blinking already. So enter. Then it says, hey, tell me where you want me to find the 0. In other words, guess. So you have to pick, you have to move the cursor over next to the 0 you're looking for by tracing. That's the one I'm looking for. And then you hit enter. And then it tells you it's at -1, 3, which is what we knew, is at -1. Now, how do you find the second one on your TI? Repeat the whole thing over again from scratch. Because that makes sense.
It does.
Yes.
It doesn't want to mess up.
You wouldn't want to accidentally pick the wrong 0. Rather than list them all out by hitting the right arrow. It's trickier. Get carpal tunnel syndrome pushing the buttons every time.
Makes your brain work more.
It does. Your TI always makes your brain work more. It always does. Every single time you're using it.
It's thinking about your health.
That's not bad. Because, and by the way, it's a more powerful tool. Because you could ask it to do things that the Casio just assumes you don't want to know. All right. Good. All right, do the last 2 problems. Let's get done with this worksheet and move on to the next thing we can do with our calculator, which is a wonderful thing. Because calculators are cool. Where do I pause? I can't pause my video. It's stuck on. Ah.